What if I told you that in just a few weeks, on March 1st, thousands of green card holders across America could lose access to critical business funding that many have relied on for years? I know that sounds alarming, and honestly, when I first heard about this development, I had to dig deep to understand what's really happening here. So today, we need to talk about something that's been causing serious concern in immigrant business communities nationwide. And I'm going to break down everything you need to know about these reported changes to Small Business Administration loan programs. Now, before we dive into the details, I want to be completely transparent with you. There's a lot of confusion and misinformation swirling around about this topic, and my goal today is to cut through the noise and give you the facts as we currently understand them. Whether you're a green card holder who's been thinking about starting a business, someone who already owns a business and might need funding in the future, or you're just trying to understand how immigration policy intersects with small business in America, this video is for you. Let me start by giving you some context about why this matters so much. The Small Business Administration has been a cornerstone of the American entrepreneurial dream for decades. Since its creation back in 1953, the SBA has helped millions of Americans start, grow, and expand their businesses through various loan programs, counseling services, and government contracting opportunities. And here's something that might surprise you. Immigrants, including green card holders, have historically been some of the most active participants in small business creation in the United States. Studies have consistently shown that immigrants start businesses at higher rates than native-born Americans. They're responsible for creating jobs, revitalizing neighborhoods, and contributing billions of dollars to local and national economies. Many of these immigrant entrepreneurs have relied on SBA-backed loans to get their businesses off the ground because, let's be honest, accessing traditional bank financing can be challenging when you don't have an extensive credit history in the United States or when you lack the personal wealth to fund a business startup entirely on your own. So what exactly are we talking about when we say SBA loans? The SBA doesn't actually lend money directly to business owners in most cases. Instead, it guarantees loans made by partner lenders like banks and credit unions. This guarantee reduces the risk for lenders, which in turn makes them more willing to lend to small businesses that might not otherwise qualify for conventional loans. The most popular SBA loan programs include the 7A loan program, which can be used for a variety of business purposes, including working capital, equipment purchases, and real estate, and the 504 loan program, which is specifically designed for major fixed assets like buildings and machinery. Until now, the eligibility requirements for SBA loans have been relatively straightforward when it comes to immigration status. You generally needed to be either a U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, which is what we commonly call a green card holder. Some programs also allowed certain other categories of legal immigrants to apply. The key point is that green card holders have had access to these programs for years, and many have successfully used SBA-backed financing to build thriving businesses. But according to reports that started circulating in recent weeks, something significant is allegedly changing. The claim is that starting March 1st of this year, green card holders will no longer be eligible for SBA loan programs. Now, I need to pause here and emphasize something crucial. As of the time I'm recording this, I have not been able to independently verify through official SBA channels that such a sweeping policy change is definitively happening exactly as described. This is why I'm approaching this topic with caution while still taking the concerns seriously. What we do know is that there have been discussions at various levels of government about tightening eligibility requirements for certain federal benefit programs, and small business loan programs have sometimes been part of these broader conversations. We also know that policy can change quickly, sometimes with limited advance notice to the public. So even if this specific March 1st deadline isn't confirmed in the exact way it's being reported, the underlying concern about potential restrictions on immigrant access to business funding is worth examining. Let's think about what it would actually mean if green card holders were excluded from SBA loan programs. First and foremost, it would represent a fundamental shift in how America supports immigrant entrepreneurship. Remember, lawful permanent residents aren't just visitors or temporary workers. They're people who have gone through extensive vetting, have been granted the right to live and work permanently in the United States, and in many cases are on a direct path to citizenship. Many have lived in America for years or even decades, raised families here, paid taxes, and contributed to their communities in countless ways. Excluding this population from SBA loans would essentially create a two-tier system where citizenship, rather than just legal status, becomes the determining factor for accessing government-backed business financing. Now, some people might argue that limiting federal programs to citizens makes sense from a policy perspective. Others would counter that lawful permanent residents have earned the right to access the same opportunities as citizens, especially when they're contributing to economic growth and job creation. From a practical standpoint, such a change would likely have ripple effects throughout immigrant communities and the broader economy. Think about the green card holder who's been working in a particular industry for years, has developed expertise and relationships, and is finally ready to start their own business. Without access to SBA-backed financing, their options become much more limited. They might have to rely entirely on personal savings, which could take years longer to accumulate. They might turn to alternative lenders who often charge much higher interest rates and offer less favorable terms. Or they might simply give up on their entrepreneurial dreams altogether. There's also the question of what happens to existing SBA loans held by green card holders. If someone already has an SBA-backed loan that they're actively repaying, would they be grandfathered in under the old rules, or would there be some kind of retroactive application? These are the kinds of details that matter enormously to real people trying to plan their financial futures. And unfortunately, we don't have clear answers yet. Another angle to consider is the competitive disadvantage this could create. Imagine two people with identical business plans, identical experience, and identical creditworthiness. The only difference is that one is a U.S. citizen and the other is a green card holder. Under the reported changes, only one of them would have access to SBA financing. Is that the kind of system we want? Does it align with American values of equal opportunity and rewarding hard work and merit? Now, I want to address something that I know some of you might be thinking. Some people hear about changes like this and immediately assume it's about cutting costs or reducing government spending. But here's the thing. SBA loan programs aren't actually a drain on the federal budget in the way many people assume. Because the SBA guarantees loans rather than making them directly, and because the vast majority of these loans are repaid successfully, the program largely pays for itself. In fact, SBA-backed businesses generate tax revenue that far exceeds the cost of occasional loan defaults. So this isn't really about saving money. Let me also talk about the timing here. Why March 1st? Why now? Without official confirmation of the policy change, it's hard to know the reasoning behind this specific date. Generally, when government agencies implement major policy changes, they try to provide some advance notice to give affected parties time to prepare. A few weeks' notice for something this significant would be relatively short, but not unprecedented. It's possible that if this change is real, it's being implemented quickly as part of a broader immigration policy shift or administrative restructuring. What should green card holders who are interested in starting or expanding a business do right now? This is the practical question that matters most. First, don't panic, but do pay attention. Monitor official SBA communications and announcements. The SBA has a website and publishes policy updates that would include any major eligibility changes. Second, if you're seriously considering applying for an SBA loan in the near future, it might be wise to accelerate your timeline. Get your business plan together, gather your financial documents, and reach out to SBA-approved lenders sooner rather than later. Even if the March 1st deadline turns out to be inaccurate, being prepared never hurts. Third, consider consulting with a business attorney or immigration attorney who stays current on these issues. They can provide personalized advice based on your specific situation and help you understand your options. Fourth, explore alternative financing sources. While SBA loans offer great terms, they're not the only option. Some green card holders might qualify for conventional bank loans, especially if they have strong credit and collateral. Others might look into community development financial institutions, which sometimes have more flexible requirements. There's also the possibility of seeking investors or using personal funds, though these options come with their own challenges. I also want to emphasize the importance of staying civically engaged. If this policy change concerns you, make your voice heard. Contact your congressional representatives. Participate in public comment periods if the SBA opens one for this issue. Join business associations and immigrant advocacy groups that can amplify these concerns. Policy doesn't happen in a vacuum, and decision-makers need to hear from the people who will be affected by their choices. Looking at the bigger picture, this situation highlights the ongoing tension in American immigration policy between welcoming immigrants as contributors to society and restricting access to certain benefits or programs based on citizenship status. It's a debate that's been going on for generations, and reasonable people can disagree about where to draw the lines. But what's concerning is when major policy changes happen without adequate public discussion, without clear justification, and without consideration of the real-world impact on people's lives and livelihoods. I keep coming back to the stories I've heard over the years from immigrant business owners. The restaurant owner who came to America with nothing and built a successful business that now employs 15 people. The tech entrepreneur who used an SBA loan to turn an innovative idea into a thriving company. The retail shop owner who revitalized a struggling neighborhood by opening a store that became a community hub. Many of these stories involved green card holders who leveraged SBA financing at a critical moment. Would those success stories have been possible without that access? There's also a broader question about America's competitiveness in attracting global talent and entrepreneurial energy. Other countries are actively trying to attract skilled immigrants and business creators. If the United States makes it harder for lawful permanent residents to start businesses here, some of them might choose to pursue opportunities elsewhere. That would be a loss for American communities and the American economy. As we wait for more clarity on this situation, I think it's worth remembering why programs like SBA loans exist in the first place. They exist because we recognize that small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, creating the majority of new jobs and driving innovation. They exist because we understand that not everyone starts with equal access to capital, and sometimes a little government backing can level the playing field. And they exist because we believe in the American dream, the idea that anyone willing to work hard and take risks should have a shot at success. So where does this leave us? Right now, we're in a state of uncertainty. The reports about March 1st, changes to SBA loan eligibility for green card holders, are concerning, but not yet fully confirmed through official channels. What I can tell you with certainty is that this is a developing situation that deserves close attention. Whether you're directly affected or you simply care about immigration policy and small business in America, stay informed, stay engaged, and don't be afraid to ask questions and demand clarity from decision makers. I'll be monitoring this situation closely and will provide updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, if you're a green card holder with entrepreneurial ambitions, don't let uncertainty stop you from planning and preparing. The best time to start working on your business plan, building your credit, and researching your financing options is always now, regardless of what policy changes might or might not be coming down the road. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay informed, stay prepared, and stay engaged with the issues that affect your future in America.